हेलो दोस्तों नमस्कार वेलकम टू Baji Rao IAS Academy. Today is 28th September and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. But as you all know, before starting our editorial discussion, we on the daily basis try to solve some of the prelims PYQ. So today question is about the rotation and revolution of Earth. And remember, this topic is very interesting, and not only interesting, but it also has a potential of asking questions, and it is like conceptual thing. If you don't able to understand rotation or the revolution, that means you will be not able to understand the season and the variation of day and night, how this happen and when this happen, why there is a the transfer of season like autumn, winter, summer. All of these is related to the rotation and revolution of the earth. So the question you have to attempt is variation in the length of daytime and nighttime from season to season are due to option A, the earth's rotation on its axis; option B, the earth's revolution around the sun in an elliptical manner; option C, latitudinal position of the place; and option D, revolution of the earth on a tilted axis. Remember, when this question was asked, there was more confusing in the option. So, before attempting, try to understand the options, because options has been given little bit closer. And if you are not able to understand, then definitely you can mark the wrong answer. So, here we will be providing you the answer along with explanation, but in the last session of the discussion. So try to solve it by pausing the video. But here we want to convey you some of the interesting facts about the revolution and the rotation. Okay, and definitely after that you will be able to answer the question. So when we talk about the earth is like geoid in shape, and earth has the revolution as well as rotation. When we talk about revolution, it means the earth rotates around the sun in an elliptical path. And how does it rotate? Look at the animation video. Okay, you can see here, from the video that the earth is rotating around the rotating not revolving around the sun in an elliptical path. And when it rotates, there is change in the season, like we are having summer this time, then autumn, then we will be having winter, then we will be having a spring, then again we will be having summer, autumn, winter and spring. That means because of the revolution of earth around the sun, there is change in season. But not only the revolution is the only factor that proposes the changes in season, there is some other fact that you need to understand. For example, in this video you can see here that the earth is slightly tilted around its axis. Okay, and because of that tilt, there is the bright side of the earth, along with there is the dark side of the earth when they revolve around the sun. And that's why you can understand that in summer season we have the highest sunlight in the northern hemisphere as compared to the southern hemisphere, and also we faces winter and summer here. And you can see like here that in this side, that is the brighter side of the earth, when the earth is facing the sun, this is the brighter side. And that's why the northern hemisphere, specifically when we talk about the from equator to the north pole, this region is more bright and more sunlight reaches, therefore there is the higher sun rays along with the longer days as compared to the night. Okay, so you have to understand here. And along with when we talk about rotation, so you should also understand that along with revolution, the earth also rotates around its axis. How does it rotates? You can understand from this animation that earth is rotating around its axis, and because of that we have the day and night. So in terms of day and night, the rotation is responsible, but when it comes to variation in day and night along with change in the season, then you have to understand that there is a factor like revolution, but not only revolution, but revolution around the tilted axis. This is the axis of the earth, and remember, this is tilted meaning, like if you draw a straight line, then this should be the axis, but the earth's axis is tilted slightward. What is the angle of tilt? You can comment in the comment section. Okay, and because of the tiltation, we have the changes in day and night, and we have the changes in season. Like we have the summer when the earth is in northern hemisphere, and when there is a winter, meaning the sun rays are vertically falling in the southern hemisphere. That is the point. And so after understanding this point, you can answer the question. Okay, and we are waiting for your answer. Please try to interact so that your concept should become clear and more understandable, and these type of concepts requires animations and more interaction so that you will be benefited more and more. So after understanding the basics, if you are liking our initiative, please do like, share, support, and share with your friend circle. And now we are moving towards the articles of discussion, and today we have to discuss two important articles. First one is related to NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission. This is basically NASA's sample returning mission, and this was launched in 2016. Okay, and where it was launched? For the asteroid Bennu. Okay, and now this mission has brought the sample from asteroid Bennu to the earth back. So what is the significance of this type of mission? As you already know that UPSC is now approaching to ask this type of questions, like we have seen about Chandrayaan 3, we have seen about the Juno mission, and UPSC had asked these questions if you go through the previous year question. So here we will be discussing about the basics that will also benefit you for the prelims point, and along with what is the significance of these type of mission. It is also very important to understand. So we will elaborate on these articles in detail. Okay, and the second article is related to the report on Josimath land subsidence. And remember, this Josimath land subsidence was a big disaster in the region of Uttarakhand, and because of that many lives were shifted from that region, because the region of Josimath was subsiding, was sinking, and you can see the pictures how there is a crack, and these all are related to various man-made factors like huge infrastructure development and push. So here we will be discussing on the reports which has been submitted by the 8 institutions, what they say, and ultimately what are the factors behind the land subsidence and what we should do to minimize all these crises. Because when they talk about the Himalayan region, it is actually a ecologically sensitive zone, ecologically fragile zone, and there is the frequent occurrence of seismic activity along with the landslide, and because of that this region is ultimately already volatile, and we have to progress the development with sustainability. That is the point the article try to convey. So we will discuss all these, and also now you have to attempt the question related to UPSC mains that was asked in GS paper 3 2023. Okay, and this topic is related to electrical vehicle. The question is, the adoption of electrical vehicle is rapidly growing worldwide. How do electric vehicle contribute to reducing carbon emission, and what are the key benefits they offer compared to the traditional combustion engine vehicle? Traditional combustion vehicle engine is basically your diesel and petrol running car, and ultimately you know the demerits that these traditional cars and vehicles do emit huge amount of carbon dioxide, that is ultimately the greenhouse gas, and ultimately lead to the global warming, and we are seeing the impact of global warming. So to minimize the incidence of global warming and to reduce the emissions, there is a need to shift to alternative sources. So what is the alternative sources? That we should develop technology so that the carbon emissions should not occur. So we on the different sectors trying to promote the alternative sources, whether it is the in the field of renewable energy, whether it is in the field of the automobile industry, we are promoting that. So here the question is asking frequently about the electrical vehicles, and when we talk about electrical vehicles, you should know the basics, that these vehicles are basically run by charging the battery and then it operates. Okay, that means there will be no carbon emission from these vehicles, and if there is no carbon emission, there will be no contribution to global warming. But remember, when we talk about charging of these vehicles, so there is a need to understand that from where the energy, from where we are charging, comes from. And if the energy comes from the coal, okay, that means we are indirectly contributing it. For example, let's say you had bought an electric vehicle, okay, and let's say to run your electric vehicle and you have to charge it. So charging requires energy, electricity. So you need to understand that from where electricity is coming. The electricity coming from the renewable sources, then it is good and it will not promote the carbon emission. But if the electricity is coming from the conventional sources like coal, like diesel, then it means that indirectly you are increasing the electricity production from coal or from the fossil fuel. So here you have to understand that electric vehicle do promotes the reduction of carbon emission, but here you have to assure that from where electricity is coming. And if electricity is from renewable sources, then definitely this is a milestone and this is a bigger achievement to reduce the carbon emission in the automobile sector. So we have discussed in a elaborate manner, but here you have to answer the context a specific question like the benefits it possesses. Okay, so you have to answer in that format. So now after the discussion of the question, we are coming to the discussion of article, and it will be covered under GS paper 3. So first of all, very interesting article we will discuss. When we talk about universe, what do you know about universe? Nothing. Very much secret the universe possesses, like where it originated, when it originated. There are very more postulates. There is no proven fact, and a study are going and going, and because of that we require more and more evidence to confirm our postulate, to confirm our scientific theory that we are building about the formation of universe, solar system, the planet, and all of this. So that's why various space agencies try to conduct operations. Specifically, when we talk about the NASA, they do conduct various operations to understand the origin of the universe, origin of the planet, origin of the solar system, or all of that. Okay, so one of the mission that NASA launched was OSIRIS-REx mission, and this mission was launched in 2016, and this was basically sample returning mission. Sample returning mission meaning this spacecraft will go to the asteroid Bennu, okay, in the space, and ultimately they will land there and they will collect the sample from there and they will return back to the earth. This was the proposed mission, and ultimately in 2016 it was launched. Along with in 2018 it was inserted into the asteroid Bennu's orbit, and ultimately in 2021 it ultimately landed in the asteroid Bennu, and now it has come to the earth again by collecting the sample. So that was the chronology of this mission. Okay, And along with, you can see on September 24, NASA's Osiris, a spacecraft, dropped off a capsule over the Earth, and that capsule contained around 250 grams of rock and dust that this mission has collected from the surface of asteroid Bennu. And you should know that when we talk about asteroid, these are the solid particles or the unformed planets that revolves around the sun, but they are located in which belt? Majority of the asteroids are located in the belt between the Mars and Jupiter. Okay, you should understand the basics. UPSC do had asked the question about asteroid belt, where does it lie? So when we talk about the composition, it is a carbonaceous asteroid. And remember why this is important, because it was formed after 10 million years when the solar system formation occurred. This means this can provide evidence about the formation of solar system in a more accurate way. Okay, so this asteroid is very much old, and how much old, that will tell you about the accurate data about formation of various planetary system. Okay, so this is the point. And we have talked about the background, like when it was launched, and you can see in 2020 this landed just to grab a sample of the asteroid, and in May 2021 it began its journey back to the Earth. Okay, and after this successful return mission, now NASA is planning to again use this spacecraft, and that spacecraft will be known as Osiris Apex Avatar, and it will again visit to silica rich asteroid, that is Apophis, in 2029. Okay, and you should remember for the prelims that Apophis is also an asteroid, and NASA's spacecraft is going to visit there to collect the sample in 2029. So this is basics about the asteroid Bennu and the composition and the background news. So when we talk about the significance, because UPSC will talk about its significance, first of all, such samples will be able to reveal what is the composition of that asteroid, and if we are able to understand the composition, that means we will be having the information about the formation of the solar system and what was the initial constituents of our solar system when it was forming. Okay, because all our solar system and these asteroids, they are parts and parcel of the similar material constituents, so you have to remember all these. Okay, and also in the future it may open up the space mining opportunity, because these type of samples do contains various significant minerals. So maybe that in future when the earth had lack of resources, then we should have to go to the space for collecting the resources. There can be the probable opportunity for this. Okay, and also it will help in developing the impact mitigation technology. What do you mean by impact mitigation technology? It is basically our earth is in the space and the asteroids try to attack on the earth, but because of the atmosphere protection, most of the asteroid meteoroid, they get burned before entering into our atmosphere. Okay, but remember, when a big asteroid or big particle tries to attack on the earth, that means we should have a clear protection technology. Okay, so this will also help in developing impact mitigation technology, as it is predicted that this asteroid Bennu could smash into the earth between this period of 2178 and 2290. Okay, so studying the composition proposition, it will inform the ways how to prevent this collision, and along with, there is more important to understand that from where the life came from. And actually Some study says that life originated from Earth itself because of alteration in chemical composition, but some also suggest that the possibility of life in the Earth came from extraterrestrial objects. Why? Because these extraterrestrial objects consisted some of the chemicals that helped to transmit to the Earth, and because of that, there was the evolution of life here. Okay, that is also the point. So it may suggest about how the life could have originated. Okay, so that is the point, and that is the end of the article. Now we are shifting to the next article, GS paper 2, and it will be covered under this topic. So when we talk about Joshimat, Joshimat is basically a location in the Uttarakhand, and in previous months we have seen about many news about its subsidence. So why there was a subsidence? There was many factors like seismic activity, like the unsustainable infrastructure creation, and all of this. Okay, so for understanding the exact cause, there was a need to have a proper study. So the Uttarakhand Disaster Management Authority, what they did, they actually consulted some of the institution, approx 8 institution, so that they can elaborate on the causes in more scientific way. Okay, and that's why after the constitution of these institutes to suggest the report, ultimately now the report was prepared, but it wasn't released into the public. Now why it wasn't released? So you have to understand that uh, from the Uttarakhand government, it was said that the report contains the satellite images and the international images, and that may create panic among the people of Uttarakhand. So it was not released. But the High Court of Uttarakhand ultimately taken the action and pushed for the release of the report, and now the report has been released. So we will discuss some of the facts about what were the factors that ultimately caused the Uttarakhand subsidence. Okay, and remember, this was like a big humanitarian crisis in this region. You can see the picture here, and also before the report was released, there was various regions that was proximated, like tunneling activity which was going on from the Tapovan Vishnugad power project developed by the NTPC, that is your National Thermal Power Corporation, along with some other regions that was proximated, like groundwater depletion, and because of groundwater depletion the layer of water is shrinking, and because of that the land subsidence is happening, along with the increased urbanization, and because of that there was more prominence faulty construction of the buildings and infrastructure. So these regions were proximated, but before that report, but when the report came, there was the findings like we will discuss, and what the report highlighted, like when we talk about the Central Building Research Institute Roorkee, they pointed out that 99% of the construction in the region did not comply with the mandatory building codes. That means unsustainable infrastructure is there, unsustainable building is there. And remember, when we talk about Himalayan region, they are basically the seismic prone zone, and if there is a disturbance, there is a earthquake like situation, then the impact will be more devastating. That is the point. And again, when we talk about another institute's suggestion, then the National Institute of Hydrology Roorkee in its report said that the network of springs, the drainage system, do had influenced the land subsidence. So that was the another point that was raised in the report. And overall, the tenuous geology, when we talk about the geology, the rock structure, the rock constituent of the Uttarakhand region or the Himalayan region, it is very much weak. Okay, and they are unconsolidated, and because of that they are more prone to the disaster. And despite all these, we are making huge infrastructure projects, and if we will promoting that in an unsustainable manner, that means they pose a risk. Okay, and that's why we have to shift towards sustainable infrastructure project. Okay, because we cannot ignore development, but we cannot ignore sustainability, specifically in these region where these region are uh, vulnerable to disaster. Okay, so what this article say, that despite there is the report that talks about the issues involved, but there is a need that any policy making which is done, there is a need to have an independent scientific council, scientific investigation, and if the report suggests something, there is a need to adopt that, there is a need to adopt that suggestion. Otherwise the disaster will be a common scenario, and we are seeing all of that. Okay, so the report highlights we have discussed, and the solution of the prelims question that we have asked was revolution of earth on a tilted axis. Okay, here question is talking about variation in the length of day, night and night. It is not talking about the day and night is due to. When we talk about day and night, it is basically due to rotation of the earth, because rotation, and there is the sunlight, and if the sunlight comes to the half part, that is the day, and remaining part is the night. Okay, but here it is talking about variation in the length of day, night and night time from season to season. It is actually the revolution of earth on a tilted axis, and tilted axis means what? This is the tilted axis. Okay, this is the tilted axis, and because of that, you can see here in the video that when it goes to the different region, that cause the change in season. Okay, so friends, we have discussed this question and hope you understood. If you are liking our initiative, please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much for the discussion. Have a nice day.